Hello, my name is Ailey Barnett. Let me start by saying I hope everybody had a safe Memorial Day weekend. And since it's Memorial Day, we are so honored and privileged to be able to make this video. And we're also privileged to be able to make this video at a Veterans Memorial close to our house. Did you know that Memorial Day never started out as being Memorial Day? Let's look at a little bit of history about Memorial Day. Came by on May 5th, 1862 by General John A. Logan. He requested that a day be set aside, May 30th, to honor and remember the soldiers that died in the Civil War. And on May 30th, 1868, the very first Decoration Day celebration was held at the Arlington National Cemetery. 5,000 people showed up, and they decorated over 20,000 Union and Confederate graves. And a speech was made by then General James Garfield, which he later became our 20th president. But see, Decoration Day was not without trouble, not without struggle. Their biggest trouble came when, during World War I, when the men and women lost their life, and the families of the ones that lost their life wanted a day to honor and remember them as well. So they changed the day, they changed the name of Decoration Day to Memorial Day. And said that it is to honor and remember all that have served and lost their life for their country. But that's not all. 1971 was the biggest change. Not only did they change the name, but they changed the date. They changed it from May 30th to the last Monday in May, according to the National Holiday Act of 1971. Now, some people say that this gave the federal workers a 3-day weekend. I don't know. But there's also still today a push in Congress trying to get it back to May 30th. But you know, Arlington National Cemetery didn't start out as a cemetery. It was Arlington National Cemetery used to be the house of General Robert E. Lee. And in 1861, when he left the house to go command the Confederate troops, the Union soldiers came in, took over the house, and set it up for their headquarters. And around that time, during the Civil War, and the people that was dying so fast that all the grave sites were being filled to capacity. There was no room to bury. So they picked a spot out on Arlington House and buried the soldiers that were dying. And Arlington also had its struggles and also had its scandals. Arlington National Cemetery, there are approximately 500,000 buried on the cemetery. It sits on 624 acres, and they say that possibly 6,000 may be mismarked. But you know, there's one grave that really has always moved me, touched me. That's the grave of the unknown soldier. Back in World War I, a soldier came back and they couldn't identify it, or couldn't identify who he was. So in 1921, Congress approved of them building a tomb sarcophagus. And etched on that tomb says, here rest in honored glory an American soldier, known but to God. Now what that's saying is they don't know who he is, but God knows who he is. That's always been so touching to me. And the unknown soldier's grave is guarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now you may say, well, how does this tie in with God? Okay, in Romans 13:1, Paul tells us that we should obey the authorities that are over us. And the authorities that are over us are established by God. And the authorities that exist, established by God. Now, if we think about it, when I joined the Navy, I took an oath, and part of that oath said that I would obey the orders of the ones over me. And I did. See, it comes down, and they didn't give orders for this person to not make it or that person not to make it. They gave them one mission, and they knew that some wouldn't make it. But they followed the orders that were handed to them. Now let's look at God and Jesus Christ. See, Jesus Christ came to earth and followed the orders of his Father, followed the will of his Father, followed the authority of his Father. See, God sacrificed his Son, and his Son was willing to obey what his Father told him. He obeyed the authority that was over him. And another thing, in John 15:13, it says that no greater love has one man than this, is for a friend to die. So no greater love that we have. We die for that friend. That is the most extreme showing of love for anybody. You see, these men and women that died in wars past, they showed their love. They showed their love for their family. They showed their love for their neighbor. They showed their love for their friends. And even for people they didn't know, like me. Why did Jesus come? He died for you and me. And he calls us friends. I want to thank everybody for their service.